Okay. I should really start by saying, like, hi. This is the second time I am recording this video. I wanted to make this video because it's May and it's Mental Health Awareness Month. I really wanted to contribute to the few people online and on social media that I've been seeing who have been coming out about their mental illnesses that they struggle with, whether it be anxiety, depression, postpartum depression. And I wanted to talk about mental illness because I think that even though we've come a long way, it's not something that people feel that they can talk about. And I think that it's really important to talk about your mental illnesses because there's so much healing that can be found when you open up about the things that you're struggling with internally. And it doesn't necessarily have to be mental illness, just anything that you're struggling with. I think a lot of times we like to act like we have it all together. And I have recently started watching a variety of vloggers, and the few that I've just really started to like, I realize the reason why I like them so much is because they're not afraid to be vulnerable and they're not afraid to be real. That is what I'm going to attempt to do in this video. Vulnerability is something that it makes someone just so beautiful. Like, it's so easy to connect with someone when they just are real with you. And I always talk about vulnerability and how great it is. And I don't like being vulnerable. But anyway, that's why I have this note card to help me be vulnerable. So basically, I've struggled with anxiety and depression since high school. There's a particular point when I had a very bad nervous breakdown. Didn't know it was a nervous breakdown until now. There were a lot of big changes in my life and I didn't really know what to do about them. And I always had migraines before, but this time it was different. I remember I was watching a movie and all of a sudden in the movie I got these huge pangs in the back of my neck and in my head. And by the time I left the movie, my mom was driving me home. I just was like struggling, like trying not to vomit the whole time. And I got home, I threw up everything that I ate. The vomiting did not stop. And the migraine it was the worst migraine of my life. I don't think I've actually had a migraine as bad. I honestly would say the pain was comparable to giving birth. And I had a 24-hour labor. It was very painful. And it was right up there. I couldn't keep water down or food down for a solid week, lost a lot of weight, and I was already underweight to begin with. Had to be helped out of bed to go to the bathroom. I don't think I showered that whole week. I was so weak and I had such debilitating back pain and migraine pain that it would shoot up and down my back. Sometimes I couldn't move, otherwise I would trigger it. Anyway, so that was like the first big episode. The doctors didn't say, oh, I think you have anxiety. They just treated my physical symptoms, which is what a lot of doctors do. I mean, that's their job. I was on an IV for 2 days to try to get fluids and nutrients back into me. And I was on a regimen of very high dosage of ibuprofen and some other medications to kind of help me calm down and to help manage my pain. Fast forward to college, anxiety, and depression got worse. I started to have a lot of like physical symptoms, and I never once thought, oh, I have anxiety or depression. Like, none of that really entered my mind. And I started to get chronic back pain, really, really bad. Regular migraines. I still have my migraines like once a month, twice a month. By the time I was a senior and a junior though in college, I had to take ibuprofen every single day in order to function, but there would still be 1 or 2 days, sometimes more, out of every month where I had to like call out of work and I had to not go to class and stay home under a blanket in the dark and just like go through my migraine pain and my back pain that would like keep me from being able to get out of bed, which means you're not eating, you're not drinking. It was so bad, I started to go see the doctor, and then I went and saw a chiropractor who I went to a chiropractor for a very long time to help manage my pain. I went to a physical therapist. I went to a spine specialist because I thought that because I had such a shooting pain up and down my spine, they thought that I might have nerve damage. But my pain level was so bad that all these specialists that I went to thought I had been in a car accident. But it wasn't until I went to the spine specialist that she did the test and was like, you don't have any nerve damage. And I was shocked because I had the back pain was started to centralize in my neck. It was this point in my neck and it felt like I had a knife in my neck. And it was so debilitating. I'd come home at the end of the day and just cry. She told me, I've seen this before. I can't say that you have a nerve problem or nerve damage because there's nothing here, but I can tell you that you seem like you have anxiety and you should see a psychologist, or try to get some professional help. It was like, I wasn't surprised. Like, it was like she said something that I knew for years, but I just never really wanted to admit or come to terms with. And at that point, I had already started seeing a therapist. So I started to get the idea that at therapy, it was like, yeah, you have a depression. But then now, like, the psychology aspect was being brought into it because of having anxiety. And I was prescribed a medication to help with my anxiety and to help with my back pain. And it did help. It did help. It definitely provided relief. And sometimes I think when you get so deep in the hole of anxiety and depression, you're not able to pull yourself back out. And that is the worst part. Because we're not able to talk about it freely in society, you're worried that if you talk about anxiety or depression, that people are going to think that you're crazy. Because a lot of times, and this is so unfortunate in the media and in movies and growing up in general, if there ever was a mental illness being portrayed in a movie, it was always like this person was in the crazy house, or they were in an asylum, or they were in a home for the mentally ill, and no one ever believed them, and they were just kind of this thing that was like weird and pushed aside. I don't think I have ever had a conversation with someone other than one person in college who said, yeah, I struggle with these things. But this person who had PTSD and all this stuff had been through some extremely traumatic events. And I was like, I haven't been through what he's been through, so how could I say that I have those things? By seeking out professional help, I started to learn that there's things called high functioning anxiety and high functioning depression. And, they're mental illnesses too. The reason why I'm making this video and sharing stuff that's just so personal is because it wasn't until I sought help and was able to talk about it just with friends that I started to seek help. Because a lot of times I was told, like, I think you should go see a psychologist or a therapist or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, I have back pain. Like, I don't have mental problems. I have back pain, But something that came up recently on social media was that we need to treat our mental illnesses as seriously as we treat our physical illnesses. And people who don't have mental illnesses need to treat people who have mental illnesses the same way you would treat someone with a physical illness. Anyway, the reason why it's so important to talk to your friends about things like this and your family is because when you have a panic attack or an anxiety attack, when you're going through a lot, and then you have a good day, all of a sudden you have a good day and you think, I'm great, I'm better, there's nothing wrong with me, it was just a phase, I was just tired, I'm just stressed, it's finals week, of course I'm having mental breakdowns. However, it's that friend or family member that knows you well that's like, no, this is something periodic, this is something chronic, it happens a lot, and I think that you would be having a better quality of life if you went and figured out what this problem is. No one wants to have a mental illness, no one wants to have any sort of illness, but mental illnesses can sometimes make you feel a little bit crazy because you think like you can't see it, and so you think that you might be making it up and that you might just like be a weak person and just be stronger, just be positive, just think positive thoughts. When sometimes your depression can be so bad that you can't get out of bed. And the reason why I'm just so wanting to talk about this is because now I'm a mom. I can't just cop out of life when I'm hurting. I can't just go, I'm gonna stay home today and deal with my migraine. Like, I have an 8-month-old who needs me to get up and change his diaper and feed him. And I work from home, so I also have to do those things. And I wanna have a career and I wanna grow in those areas. I need to live life and I want to live life. And now that I am a mother and I'm married, there's definitely more of a challenge with dealing with my mental illnesses, I think. And so my husband has talked to me and other people who I trust, and I'm finally realizing I need to go and seek professional help again. I just want this video to help people who are struggling to talk about their problems, because you need that outside perspective to go, no, it's not just in your head. I think that you need to do something about it. So please talk to your friends about this stuff. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's only going to help you. And it's so healing to be open about these things and to have people who are supportive, to make you feel like, you're doing what's good for you, to treat it that way. Because at the end of the day, you can treat all the physical symptoms like I did for years and go to all these specialists. But it wasn't until I started treating the internal problem, the internal illness, that I started to feel better. My back pain is a lot better. My migraines are a lot better. Like, I have a lot less migraines, or fewer migraines. I don't know what the right thing to say there is. I hope that I've helped you. And my kid's awake. I don't know if you can hear him. And I'm going to go get him. So I'm going to leave some information in the description of this video. I talked to a psychologist recently. She gave me a bunch of recommendations because I know a lot of times we want to seek out professional help, but we don't know where to start. So let me know what else you think, because it's not just, counseling or psychology that you need. Sometimes medication, sometimes yoga, sometimes meditation. Anyway, let's start talking about this stuff. I gotta go. Thanks for watching. Oh, and subscribe, because I think I'll be making more of these things.